backstretch, side by side. Into turn 3 now, still door handle to door handle. Let's see.
Henriksen has the run on the inside coming out of turn 2. Give third place to the number 0, Scott Lucas.
Michelle, hold on. NASCAR driver Jeremy Mayfield.
It's a win-win for everybody with these type of cars, and we're not spending a ton of money to race them.
And welcome back to Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park for the second of Twin 50-lap feature events here for the Grand National Super Series presented by Engineered Components Company. I am Joshua Weatherman. We are in Coburn, Virginia, beautiful Coburn, Virginia, coal country as some would call it, up here in the mountains. And we have a stacked field of competitors ready for race 2. 50 laps of race notes already in the books for these drivers. We'll see what they can do for 50 more as we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the second Twin 50-lap event. Jamie Mosley in the 11 and number 18, Chris Burns, will start row 1. Row 2, your defending champion, Jeremy Mayfield, in the second place finisher in race number 1. And A.J. Henriksen, your third place finisher in the 46 from race number 1. In row 3, Isaiah Hogan in the 54, and your first race winner, Thomas Annunziata, getting it done in his first ever start in the number 23 D2 Motorsports machine. And in row 4, Mitchell Stapleton in the number 42, making his comeback from the Minion, and Dave Hutchinson rounding out the field in the number 62, Super Dave, as we like to call him here in the Grand National Super Series community. You saw the first race, a beautiful, thrilling feature, 50 laps, heart-pounding action. Nose to tail for Annunziata, Mayfield, and Henriksen. All guys waiting to make their moves. Like we said earlier in the first race and earlier in practice, these guys know it is treacherous to run side by side here. You can get it done, but you have to have a lot of finesse. We will see what Jamie Mosley and Chris Burns can do on the front row for the start. Burns didn't have the best of races the first race out tonight here at Lonesome Pine. Jamie Mosley was dirt tracking it off of the corners in the first race. We'll see if these guys can rebound and possibly finish on the podium, hopefully in victory lane for their teams. And then you see behind them the top 3 in the first race. Mayfield, Annunziata, and Henriksen. Annunziata in his very first start. You saw the interview with him earlier in the first race as well. Just happy to get back to a local short track. Kind of cutting away from his Trans Am experience. Kind of stepping out of his comfort zone per se. And getting the win here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. And Mayfield finishing second. That is a 1-2 finish for D2 Motorsports. As we are doubling up, 1 to go until the start here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. These tires have taken a beating, and they will take 50 more laps of abuse here soon. What do you do in these first 20 laps? Do you save, conserve, or do you go all out to the wall for all 50? Jamie Mosley, Chris Burns, Jeremy Mayfield, A.J. Henriksen, Isaiah Hogan, Thomas Annunziata, Mitchell Stapleton, and Dave Hutchinson, your field for race number 2 on the night at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. We are green at the Pine once again. Chris Burns with the early advantage on the outside. He'll clear for the lead going into turn 1. A sparks fly from underneath that number 18 machine. Little contact on the back. Jamie Mosley and A.J. Henriksen both into the wall. Now Mosley into the back of the number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. A frantic start for these guys. That'll allow Chris Burns to pull away just a bit as Mayfield already battling for second. So is the number 23 of Thomas Annunziata. Not the start Jamie Mosley in the 11 wanted at all. The same for A.J. Henriksen as both of those machines contacted the wall on the backstretch. A very frantic start to this second Twin 50-lapper. As now it looks as though everybody's got their P's and Q's underneath them, trying to find a rhythm for these first 20 laps. Jeremy Mayfield stalking his prey in the number 18 of Chris Burns. Could Jeremy Mayfield strengthen that driver's points lead? He looks to the inside of Burns. Side by side for the lead early in this one. Mayfield sticking to the bottom like Velcro. Chris Burns holding his own on the outside. More sparks from underneath that number 18 machine of Chris Burns. Jeremy Mayfield to the front of the pack. Now Thomas Annunziata all over the back bumper of Chris Burns. Almost a little contact there in turns 1 and 2. We are back to a D2 Motorsports 1-2. Jeremy Mayfield first, Thomas Annunziata second. Now Chris Burns will have to hold off the almost identical ECC machine of A.J. Henriksen in the 46. A.J. Henriksen will make his move underneath the number 18 of Chris Burns. Burns just cannot hold the position up front. We know they've been having problems with this car, and it seems as though they have not went away just yet, as now Burns looks to hold off that number 11 of Mosley, who's still rebounding from that early wall contact in the race. Jeremy Mayfield out to a strong lead early, but remember, we do have a competition caution on lap 20, so that'll all change here shortly. His teammate Thomas Annunziata will be right there with him, as will the number 46 of A.J. Henriksen. The battle still rages here for fourth between Chris Burns and Jamie Mosley. Burns looks comfy in this fourth position, as Jamie Mosley rounding out the top 5. These guys all just trying to log laps, save tires until this break shortly. We know how rough this track is. We've talked about it and talked about it, but it can't be talked about enough. You more have to race the racetrack in this race than the car itself. You see them fly by our speed shot underneath the flagman here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. Looks as though both of Henriksen and Mosley's machines were not that affected by the wall contact early in the race. As Mosley looks to go down on the flat just a bit there to try to catch some time on Chris Burns, and it looks as though it worked just a bit. We'll see if he can get this position before the caution. Mosley dancing in Chris Burns' mirror coming out of turn 4. Burns trying to hold the position. Mosley a little sideways there off of 2, excuse me. So loose, I lost track of where I was there for a second, as Mosley again on the bottom of the track again, using the flat to his advantage, and it seems to be working, as now he's right on the back bumper of the number 18 of Burns. Burns, though, with a run off of turn 2. Mosley will lose just a little bit as we begin to catch some lap traffic. That's the 62 of Dave Hutchinson. Mosley running lower than Burns. Burns keeping the same line he has all race long so far. Mosley a little sideways on the bottom that time, but he didn't lose much time. As we continue to near the lap 20 competition caution, Mosley very hungry for this 4th position. They'll sneak by the number 62 machine. Does this help or hurt Mosley's advances to Burns? Mosley going in high, coming off low, sort of a diamond effect here in turns 1 and 2. Now we'll see what he can do in 3 and 4. He dives underneath the number 18 of Burns. A strong and bold move from Mosley. We'll see if he can make it work as they're side by side for 4. Mosley loose on the inside. Burns keeping it straight, so will Mosley, as the competition caution will fly. Perfect timing for Burns. Not very good timing for Mosley, as he looked as though he was ready to get that spot. As now these drivers can think about the first 20 laps and think about their strategy for the last 30. As we got a chance earlier today to talk to Mitchell Stapleton, we know he had a hard practice crash over at Dominion. Glad to see him back. Let's see what he has to say about his comeback to the Grand National Super Series.
I learned a lot about how my brakes work. I did not know what my pad compounds were. So when they would heat up, they would kind of come in and fade out at different temperatures. And the brake bias could use some adjusting also. We checked it afterwards, and it was a lot farther to the rear than the gauges showed it was. So between those two things, we got different pads, checked it better, and it's a lot better now. And from getting that fixed to now, I did the whole rear clip, all the body stuff, and I drove probably 3,000 miles from our place back and forth to the garage shop in Newton to work on this thing for basically the last 2 months. And there was no air conditioning in there. It was extremely hot. It's a lot of work. People don't really think about how much you have to do when you're running one of these cars by yourself. We're real grassroots, and it helps having done everything we've done, because I've heard stories like this 1,000 times from all these different people. It all works the same way, and now we're living it. And I have an even greater appreciation for all of these guys they were self-employed, they had families, and they still did this, and they went to racetracks 5-6 times a week. I don't know how they did it. It's certainly puts things into a perspective. I learned.
Awesome to talk to Mitchell earlier today. If you've never been to his YouTube channel, go to YouTube, type in Stapleton42. Some amazing content on his channel, as we are already doubled up, ready to go back green here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. It's a D2 Motorsports front row. AJ Henriksen third, Chris Burns fourth, Jamie Mosley rounding out the top 5. We are back green at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. Nearly dead even going into turn 1 for both Jeremy Mayfield and Thomas Annunziata. Mayfield with a slight advantage heading into 3. AJ Henriksen looking to get in on the fight on the inside. Give Mayfield the lead now. Annunziata with Henriksen to his bumper. Henriksen with a bold move to the inside of Annunziata. We'll see if AJ Henriksen has something to say before this race is over. Henriksen a little bit sideways, but it doesn't matter. He has the run. Now going into turn 1, a little bit of contact between he and Annunziata. These guys are giving it their all. Chris Burns and Jamie Mosley right there in the shadows. What a fight for second place. AJ Henriksen and Thomas Annunziata. Annunziata holding his own on the outside lane. Henriksen trying his all on the inside. Annunziata clears for just a split second. Now AJ Henriksen coming back once again like a thorn in Annunziata's side. Annunziata with the run on the outside once again. Henriksen trying that inside. It looks as though it's the same as race 1. Annunziata just really good off of the corners. That's where you're going to have to beat him. As Annunziata with just a little bit of breathing room. Right when I say that, though, AJ Henriksen dives in between turns 3 and 4. All of this is allowing that number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield to walk away with a strong lead. You have to wonder, too, are these guys abusing the tires too much? Going for second place, are they going to have enough to challenge Mayfield for the lead later on in the later stages of this race? Henriksen not going anywhere. Still to the inside of the number 23 of Thomas Annunziata. Henriksen with another good entry into 3. What an exit off of 4, too, that time. We talked about Annunziata's exit speed. A.J. Henriksen nearly outpaced him there. And look at this run off of turn number 2. Henriksen got it figured out. He'll get by Annunziata for second. Now Chris Burns will look up to pick the bones from that fight with Henriksen. And Annunziata, did he abuse too much of his equipment? Chris Burns looking for a great run on the night. A podium would be just what this team needs. Jamie Mosley right behind them as well. We saw that fierce battle he and Burns had before the competition caution. And it looks as though we might have another battle between the two brewing. Mosley sticking to the inside of Burns. Burns staying committed to that high side. Mosley with a strong entry into 3 that time. Again, though, a little sideways off of the corners. We'll see if Mosley can keep that under control. That time, Burns taking away Mosley's line just a bit, coming off of 4. As these guys begin to play cat and mouse just like the front of the field did in race number 1. You're not missing anything up front. It's all between Burns and Mosley. Mosley trying to tiptoe around that number 18 of Burns. We saw him get a little sideways multiple times tonight. It looks as though he may have the faster car between he and Burns, but it is just so hard. We heard A.J. Henriksen after the first race. It is so hard to pass here. It looks as though Mosley's trying to prove me wrong, though, as he looks to the inside of Burns for good this time. A strong dive into 3. As now these guys are deadlocked in a side-by-side battle. These guys are fighting hard in the point standings. This 4th place finish could mean a lot in the points. Every point matters. As Chris Burns and Jamie Mosley both running for the title. As now all of this is allowing Mitchell Stapleton, look at the speed out of that number 42 machine. He's catching up to this battle between Burns and Mosley. Mitchell Stapleton did not come here to ride around tonight. He came here to race, and you can see that speed out of the 42 may even be faster than it was before. As now Mosley still stalks the number 18 of Chris Burns. Still up front, though, it is all Jeremy Mayfield setting sail into the sunset as we are under 10 laps to go on the night here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. Burns now with ample breathing room between he and Jamie Mosley. Mosley, though, looking to prove me wrong, trying to eat crow. Jamie Mosley now all over the back bumper of Chris Burns, but Burns still. It looks as though Mosley really good on the entry, but on the exit, just as Annunziata, Burns snaps the gas and he's gone. Chris Burns, this is a run this team needed for sure, as there are 5 laps to go here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. 5 laps to pay dirt for anybody in this field. including that number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. He is in a very comfortable position right now ahead of A.J. Hendrickson in the 46. Jeremy with a nice and smooth line around this Coburn, Virginia speed plant. A.J. Hendrickson right there in second. You saw him get a little sideways off of 4. I think Hendrickson's gonna need a caution or a mistake from Jeremy Mayfield to have a chance at this win. If not, we could be looking at another win for that number 19 machine. And A.J. Hendrickson fighting some loose condition there with the 46. You saw it into the entry of 1. As the white flag is out here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. 1 lap to go for Jeremy Mayfield. It has been a season to remember for the 2024 champion. Looking to stack his points and add to that point standings lead. Jeremy Mayfield will win here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. Happy D2 Motorsports team down here with Jeremy Mayfield. We'll go talk to Jeremy's teammate here in the 23 DDP machine. Taking his helmet off. Thomas, if we could get you to the front of the car here for an interview. Live on Facebook and YouTube. Thomas, you had a fast car once again. What more did you need for the 46 and 19?
We made a small setup change, and I think obviously in the beginning they had better pace than I had all weekend. I pushed hard to win the first one. I think I probably hurt the tires a little bit, but setup-wise, it just fell off at the end. So just maintain a third, but just more grip overall.
A first and a third, so the most important question, did you have fun?
Absolutely, that's why I'm here.
As Thomas Annunziata, your third place finisher tonight at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. As we will catch a word from the excited victor, Jeremy Mayfield.
Jeremy Mayfield, your winner in the second National Super Series race.
Jeremy Mayfield, I talked to you earlier. You were happy that the 23 won. How about a D2 Motorsports sweep on the night here at Lonesome Pine?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and to be able to see that, the 23 win the first race, and we come back, and we made several adjustments on my car for the second race, and I think he should have been freed up a little bit too, and he'd probably been right there with us. But it's just had a great night. We had a good night in the first race, and then the second race went our way, and just able to pull off a win. And just can't thank everybody enough. Everybody that works on this car and everybody that sponsors the car. We got a pretty small group here that's pretty special.
We know you've raced in the Cup Series, multiple series throughout your career. Is this some of the funnest times of your career right now?
By far, it's I say probably the funnest time I've had. I got choked up a little bit drinking my water, but I've had a great time, and ever since I've been in this series, I've had fun, and it's just fun to race like this. My car drives great, and if there's something wrong with it, I can fix it. I don't have to worry about going through anybody else to fix it. I can do what I need to my car and make it right, and that's all I needed in the Cup Series. Just never could get that, obviously, because it's a big team, but here now I'm able to do that, and it's showing, and we're winning races.
That's Jeremy Mayfield, your winner tonight in the second Twin 50-lap event. And we'll get to talk to the second place finisher here, A.J. Hendrickson. Well, I know it's not the place you wanted, but still a good run nonetheless. What more did you need for that 19?
A little more laps, or I needed to get by the Thomas a little quicker, but it's just so hard to pass here. We almost run over each other several times. I had a little bit of contact in the beginning of the race with Jamie and kind of knocked the front end out of it a little bit. So it wasn't perfect, but a little bit more time, and I think I would have had him. But all in all, a great night. I want to thank my mom and dad for supporting me, of course, my wife, and ECC Motorsports.
That's AJ Hendrickson, your second place finisher. Thank you all for joining us here at Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park. We will see you next weekend at Caraway Speedway. Thanks to Arnie Hendrickson and Barbara Hendrickson of ECC. And again, we will see you next time in Sophia, North Carolina at Caraway Speedway.